So this is an update video in the goal that we've set in the previous video. Or my set goal that was like what is it? It's day 69, so that's been like 70, 80, 90. That's been a month now. And we're making pretty good progress. And this has been a very big learning curve for me and a very big learning experience as well, especially the past few days, because I'm basically the brain power of how to operate this thing. And I've been doing a lot of thinking recently. Only I have basically quit everything in my life right now. The only thing I have going on right now is this thing, and I'm taking some German classes. Teti matra ho. That's everything. I sleep, I wake up, I go to classes, I come back, I work and take some breaks बाहिरतिर खाजा साजा खाना गइन्छ. That's all my life right now. And I feel like it's going great because to get ever so slightly closer to my goal, to get what I want, I feel like there should be something of equal value sacrificed. So one of the few things I've learned basically is that, and I've gotten a better understanding of where we are positioned currently and where we are standing. So more of that later in the video, and where I plan to take the business and where I'm leading it to currently. So let's just talk about all that has happened so far. Honestly, cold DMs has never been my thing because the leads are very low quality and very unresponsive as well. Content has been the main source of lead for us, and one of the biggest things we did in the past few days is push out content. So you can take a look at some of the videos and I'll explain more about what these videos are meant for and what they do and everything that I learned making content. So creating content was one way to get clients, and cold DMing, I really do not want to cold DM because it gets really annoying honestly. Receive गर्ने मान्छेलाई पनि like पठाउने मान्छेलाई पनि it gets repetitive धेरै पठाएपछि. So I really don't want to do that. If I have to, I'll probably switch into email marketing, but for now, the best thing for us to do is content. And I'll explain more about that, why the किन र कसरी पनि अलिक पछि, and I'll explain more about content and all that stuff as I go on. So as I was saying, the most drastic steps we took was actually make content and actually try to understand what kind of content to make, because पहिला त randomly we just pushing out content, whatever works, whatever comes to mind, we just spit it out and just throw it out there, right? So getting a better understanding has helped me a lot. Two of the biggest achievements that we've had in the past few days is posting and understanding content, and also knowing where we stand and where to position ourselves. So creating content in and of itself is no big deal, but doing it right is the problem. You can just push out content, but it just doesn't give you a solid footing on where you're positioned and where you're heading. And it got me thinking, like we've been doing this for like 2.5 years now, and after doing so much, we have to have specialty in at least one thing, at the very least. After putting in all that effort, it just can't be nothing. And the conclusion I reached was, what we've been doing and understanding without knowing and understanding that we were doing it was creating a personal brand and understanding the ins and outs of creating one. So basically, I want to position ourselves, or rather we are personal brand specialists. We have a good understanding of what it is like to create content as a brand or a solo brand, and how much that matters and how much that affects your goals. And matter of fact, that's what we basically do and help others do. And as I was saying, just making interesting content doesn't cement yourself as a brand. Your personal brand also means what you stand for and who you are, and what values you have. Trust in people is built over time. So personal brand isn't something that happens overnight. And interesting content is just for the sake of entertainment. That does not mean that you create a personal brand. You may gain some following, but it will be just people that follow you for the sake of following you. To create that sense of trust in people, it takes time and effort. And I don't necessarily mean to completely neglect on the interesting content, but there needs to be a balance between the interesting content that is for entertainment for the sake of just getting eyes on your content. Because you can post any kind of content, if you don't have any eyes, what's the point of it? So getting eyes on your content is just as important. And from then on, you use that to slowly talk about your values, who you are, and build on the brand that you have. So both kind of content is just as important, and it's just as important to do them right. So there are special strategies to talk about which I won't be discussing in this video. So to summarize all of that, there's two things that you need to do. First, if you're trying to build a personal brand, first is create content that gets eyes, give your values, and secondly, it is to create your persona online. What kind of person you are, what kind of values you have. Sometimes these two can intertwine, so it's not always going to be the same case for everyone. And it has helped us out tremendously because we depend heavily on our content to get clients. At this point, we have a good enough connection that if we ever had to start from zero, it wouldn't be much of a trouble either. Also, just a plug here, if you're a business or a person that's looking to create a personal brand, just hit me up. And I forgot to mention last video मैले mention गरेको थियो होला यो भिडियोमा kind of plug just to mention गरौँ. The future is AI. Focus on AI. Focus on AI. There's a lot of things you can do with AI. I've been experimenting with AI as well. And if you're trying to get into AI, I recommend these tools. Just use these tools, you won't need any other tools. First is ChatGPT, you'll understand what it's for. Elvin Labs is for voices. Clean AI is for generating image, videos, whatever. And then Hejin Money, it's for avatars and stuff, so check those out if you're interested in learning AI. Personally, I've been trying to play around with those things. Some of them cost and some don't, so just check it out actually if you're interested in all that stuff. I'm sharing this because the AI is definitely the future. And lastly, you need to understand that your videos are not doing well because the content is not interesting enough, or your personal brand is not growing as well because you are not strategizing it right. You guys need to understand that people are drowning in content, especially your day and age, but there's no one that does not consume content in one form or another. Everyone consumes content heavily, and there's a very big market for whatever you have. Also, another thing is I managed to get over one of the biggest roadblocks that I've had for like एक वर्ष नै भइसक्यो होला. Last time we tried to push to a big goal. I think this was one of the biggest problems we had last time. दुई तीनचोटि भइसक्यो, सल्भै गर्न सकेको थिइनँ, but it has been resolved now, so things are looking very good. Honestly, I'm not gonna say what it is, but yeah, it's a big step for us. So to summarize everything, I got over one of the biggest hurdles that we've had. I have come to understand our positioning and who we are. So that was the biggest things I learned this week. I hope I'll see you in the next one, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Take care and keep learning. Bye bye.